So today we are going live, and I have a very special guest on. I'm excited for you guys to learn more about him, and I'm excited for the conversation we're about to get into. Since I've met this man, there hasn't been a whole lot of dull moments in the conversations we've gotten into, and even the things that we've done together. So I'm excited for you guys to hear his story, part of his story, and also for us to get into how I met him and what we've been doing together. So thank you, Mitch, for coming on today's show.
Of course.
I know the audience is going to be, they're going to learn a lot from you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And we're going to get into some business conversations, hopefully.
Okay.
Some of Mitch's personal story, as much as he'd like to share. And then we'll also stick around because we're going to get into the ultra marathon journey that Mitch has gotten me on to.
I love it. Let's go. I'm here for it.
So this is the man that I've been talking about that will be on the podcast at some point in time, and that has challenged me to get into ultra marathon running. And so if there's anybody out there listening that's interested in that, stick around for that. But as we get going, I just want to start with like your childhood, and normally we start as young as you like. I mean, you can start at whatever age you feel like you want to share.
Sure.
What it was like in your household. Kind of take the people
Okay.
into your world at whatever age. You can start with a story.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot right now because
Sure.
this is just for the audience too. I've been wanting to say this. Like none of this is scripted.
Yeah, I wish you did script it.
We want to keep it as authentic as we possibly can, and that's why we don't script it.
Yeah.
We don't take notes. I mean, I do read. I do learn as much about our guests as I can before coming on the show. But
Did you read my book?
I didn't.
Ah,
read
dang
your
it! I don't have a book. Trick question.
Yeah, go check out Mitch's book, but maybe by the time you watch this podcast,
I may write one.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
He may have a book. as many runs as you've been doing here lately. I feel like there's a book being written right now.
Yeah, ultramarathoner who doesn't look like an ultramarathoner. That could be my book.
Ultramarathoner who never trained for an ultramarathon.
I love it.
Yeah.
By Mitch Strahan. I can see it.
And that leads me right into, please comment on this video and give us feedback.
Yeah,
not only
absolutely.
for myself, but for Mitch as well. And we love that. And we appreciate you guys sharing this podcast to anybody that it may be beneficial to, which is probably majority of the world.
I hope.
So just take me into your world at whatever age you like to start at.
I'm trying to think. So you want to just get into it?
Childhood memory.
Okay.
You've shared some awesome memories with me from your childhood experiences.
Yeah, I would say what has made me, I don't know, unique is, the good stuff and the bad stuff. So if I get right into it, I think a big thing was it's not happy. This isn't happy, but my mom and dad got divorced when I was like 4 years old, something like that. And so I kind of developed in two completely different environments.
Okay.
Without saying anything disparaging about either party, I'll say that when I went to my mom's house, I had less rules. And so how do I put this? Less rules, more freedom, could express myself in ways that maybe other people couldn't. But then when I went over to my dad's, I had a very strict upbringing. Maybe he would disagree with you, but I would say probably more strict than people around me. So I had this very, and I'm oversimplifying it, but that's kind of what made me into who I am. being able to experience ultimate freedom, creativity, do whatever. There are no rules, which that by itself is terrible. But then I also got to experience order, because that can be chaotic, the whole mom experience.
Let's touch on that, because I think that we're in a place in society right now where kids are given free reign. Majority of kids are given free reign. Hey, like little Johnny, he doesn't need discipline. I got disciplined as a parent. I didn't like it. So I'm not going to do that to my kids. I didn't plan on going down this path, but I think it's a great point that you bring up, because it's like you lived that life and now you're out of it, and now you have a son, right? It's you kind of see the difference in the two styles of parenting. So so what are the
styles? They're crazy styles. So just to give you like a little glimpse into what that looked like, my mom would go to work, and I could either decide to be sick that day and just not go to school. I could ride my dirt bike to school and park it and lock it into the bike rack in elementary school. Driving my dirt bike, my little Suzuki JR50.
That's wild.
Oh yeah, it was insane. Yes. And then over at my dad's, having more order, right? Order with diet, order with my lifestyle, what friends I can see, if and when I can go outside, right? Like, it was kind of a given that I could just go outside and skateboard and do whatever I wanted at my mom's. But at my dad's, I'd be, asking, hey, can I go outside in the front yard? Oh, I don't know. We got to watch you. I'm like, I'm 10 years old. Like, So that was a little glimpse of that. But I'm sorry, what were you asking?
No, I was just asking, for those details of the difference. What do you think is, which one did you benefit? Obviously there's a balance in everything, but like if you had to raise your child in an environment,
that's a good question.
Then which one would you choose? I guess it's the question that I'm asking, because some parents are just choosing to think that, hey, this way, the freedom, give them everything they want, give them the free reign to do whatever they choose to do. Like,
I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
Why not? Well, I think kids need order. I think they need boundaries. I think they need structure, and I've experienced both. And they need some of that. I think kids also need the ability to, like I said, express themselves, be creative, get that energy out, but there's got to be a balance. So if you asked me, Mitch, which one would you prefer? I would say whatever mix I got made me who I am, I'll take it. But if you ask me, what would I do for my son? I would say less freedom and more structure. For sure. I feel like I leaned way more to the free-spirited. Your podcast is the Amish Rebel. I was the original rebel. Okay, I was peacing out and doing whatever I wanted to do. Okay. Fun story.
Okay.
My mom, again, nothing disparaging. She worked full-time job, single parent, and I was a latchkey kid. So I'd just come home and I'd have a key and come inside and do whatever I wanted to do until she got home at like 7 p.m. So one of the safety measures she gave me so that I could just skateboard all around the city, do whatever I wanted to do.
Dude, that's crazy.
Elementary school is she gave me an air horn. And she's like, if anyone tries to steal you, hit the air horn. Yeah. So like, I would be like, okay, well, I'm safe. I got an air horn. And I would go everywhere. Places I had no business going.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, in the hood of McKinney.
So do you think just looking back on it?
Yeah.
Obviously you were spared from getting into too much crime and all of that, but do you think that's how kids end up in like going down that path? Like, let's say you're a kid and you're just out there playing, you have free reign to do whatever you want, and some guy comes along and starts to talk to you, and
for sure. Like, I think it's tough, right? Because like it's so easy to spin it back on your parents, be like, well, if you had been more present or this and that, but if they're having to work a full-time job. It's like, and I know you're not saying, I'm not saying that you're throwing it back at them. I'm just trying to be careful with my words, because I understand there's people out there that they'd love to spend more time with their kids, be more present, give them more structure, but they can't. And so, but yeah, to answer your question, I think if a parent isn't around providing structure and order, and they're able to just kind of, I don't know, get into crowds that they shouldn't be a part of, which is kind of where I was heading, I think that's probably what starts it.
Gotcha.
But I had the unique ability, I guess, to go live with my dad starting in 10th grade, I think it was.
Okay.
And that completely changed the path I was on for better, for sure. It's kind of, in the wrong crowds, doing whatever I wanted to do. And I'm like, man, I just need something. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I need something else. And I think best decision by far was to say, I'm going to go seek out the order, seek out the structure. And it's probably a pretty rare thing from a 15-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to stay here forever, but I'm like, I don't want to be that kid in my mom's basement.
Yeah. Well, and I touching back on the order and the structure versus the freedom, I think I would add to you said that kids need that. I actually think, and I believe personally, that kids crave that.
Oh yeah,
they absolutely crave that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I'd agree with that.
As a parent now, if you just stop and watch and listen to your kids, they're asking you for it without actually saying the words. I mean,
it's so true.
And so,
it's so true.
I think as a 15-year-old, maybe unusual in the crowd that you're hanging out with, but there's a lot of 15-year-olds that are seeking for the structure and the order, and they don't have anybody in their lives to give it to them. Like, they don't see anybody.
Yeah.
If you don't have a father figure, like you were blessed to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Absolutely.
Then who are they going to turn to? Yeah. Maybe it's their coach. Maybe they have a coach that they look up to, but some kids don't even have that. Yeah, it's true. So, that's wild. That's wild to think about. Yeah, going back to your kids crave it, if you just listen, my 4-year-old will say, "Daddy, is this a good word or a bad word?" I don't have to bring up, "Oh, this word's a bad word, this word's a good word." If he hears something, he wants to know. Is it like, I want structure. Is this thing good or is it bad? And that's kind of what we're here to provide for them. Is this bug? Is this going to sting me and hurt me? Or is it like nice and soft and cuddly? Yeah. Oh, that one stings you and that one's not. They want that. And, I desperately wanted it. I didn't realize how bad I wanted it until I got it. Yeah. And I would never go back. Yeah. So I love my mom. Just never go back to no order. Yeah. And I mean, to give respect to your mom, she more than likely she's doing what she knows to do. Yeah, absolutely. Right? I mean, she's not there to provide the order. It's not on her, Yeah. She's got to work. And some ladies are more educated. Some ladies are more well versed in raising children, like more disciplined. Yep. Than others. Like, I'm the free spirit in our house, and my wife is very structured. Yeah. so I'm the one that will come in and say, "Hey, kids, let's turn the house upside down." And my wife, brings everybody back into order. And we need both. Yeah, we do. We need balance, because I'd be eating Oreos and probably have my first heart attack if it wasn't for my wife, So I know it's true. My wife's probably a little too supportive in that area. She'd be like, "You like the Oreos? You should eat the Oreos." Like, no, tell me I'm getting fat. Tell me I'm being unhealthy. But yeah, I agree with you completely. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. That was a glimpse into your childhood. Then you turn 15. Yeah, and you go live with your dad full time. Yep. Full time. Wow. Yep. Okay. What was that like? Oh man, the transition's a little difficult for multiple parties involved. I'd say for my mom, she was hurt, because clearly I was seeking something that I wasn't getting. So I think she hated that. Which, like I said, nothing against her at all. It's just
you know. And then my dad was absolutely thrilled. And for me, I was getting what I wanted, but I was like, wow, like this is like really structured. You know what I mean? It's exactly what I was seeking. It's just when I actually received it, I was like, did I really want this? Did I, you know, it's like, be careful what you wish for.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. We talked about that on the way here.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we did. We did in business. I wish I had more sales. I don't have any time with my family anymore. It's like, you're seeking it out there. You got to remember why, what was the first reason? Like, why did you want that in the first place? And then I think it's easier to accept.
Yeah, I think I also wanted to talk about a little bit of where we're at with our, not only your business, our business, and the podcast. And I think you bring up a great point. Like, yeah, I want to have more influence. I want to be able to impact more people. Mm-hmm. But here we are on a Saturday afternoon recording. It's
beautiful outside too.
It is beautiful outside. We're in here recording.
I'm done with it.
So I do think that's part of the message is that people say they want a certain thing, but are you willing to put the work in? And I didn't realize when I said I wanted to have an impact on people. Yeah. That it would require so much time and energy putting into something like this to make it enjoyable for people to watch and be able to learn stuff from. And so,
for sure.
So that's a great like observation from that. Like, I want it, but I don't want it.
Yeah, you receive it, and you're like, oh. Did I? Why? What was the reason for doing this? Kind of like the ultramarathons. We do those. Oh my We're goodness. Like 30 miles in, and Enos says, he's like, Mitch, why are we doing this again? Can you just explain what were the reasons? You wanted me to list them off. Like, because we originally wanted to? Because that's, I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. I think, man, there's so much to that. It's in every area of life. Just remembering why you wanted it in the first place.
Yeah.
So
from 15 on, like, you begin just every day was structured. You knew what you were supposed to be doing, maybe not always following the rules, but like you knew there was a routine, more or less.
For sure. At that point, I was the rule breaker in a structured environment. And so it wasn't like I just, there's structure, I will adhere to the structure. It was more so like, wow, okay, that's nice. That's good to have those boundaries, but I'm still going to break them. Mm-hmm. And it took a long time. I'm still working on that. I think I'm naturally, maybe not rebellious, but curious. You know? And so, yeah, that was a tough experience. But I will say, as soon as that happened, my life just blew up in an amazing direction. I mean, I got to start over fresh, new school, new city. There's a little fuzz in front of me. I wasn't held down by past experiences, you know? Yeah. And so I really got to like reinvent myself in a way that I don't think I could have before.
That's good. I think that's who I know you to be today, is like the curious person, not necessarily... Yeah, we're going to challenge the status quo for sure. Like, any human being that has accomplished any great things has like challenged the status quo. Yeah. Like, you can't just say, oh, well, there's a line there. Well, why is the line there? Yeah. In the first place? Well, because for thousands of years, people told me there was a line there.
Yes. I experienced that with college. Oh man, I think it was sociology or something. I don't know what the class was. It doesn't matter. But the teacher was doing this poll to see who was planning on going to college. Right? Mm-hmm. It's my senior year. And I get, all right, with a show of hands, you know, who's planning on going to college? And everyone's hand goes up. I mean, even people where I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think you can learn anything at college. I think it would be a waste of money, you know. But my hand remained down. And she was like, Mitch, what are you doing? I mean, she was freaking out and having a visceral reaction to me saying, I'm not going to go to college. And I'm like, there is nothing that I would need to go to college for.
Wow.
So far. And I'm like, if that changes, if I decide I want to be a lawyer, well, you got to go to college to be a lawyer, or a doctor, etc. I'm like, but if my profession doesn't require it, then I'm just going to do it. And so, my dad got a call, of course. Mitch says like he's not going to college. And my dad was like, yeah, that sounds like Mitch, It's just
that's my son. That's who I raised to be.
for better or for worse, that's who I am. Sometimes it's a pain to people around me, but other times it works out in my favor. I don't have $50,000 in college debt, and I got to work on my life right away. I didn't right at 18. I got to start working, and. Yeah, I didn't do the whole party phase thing. I didn't, have my wild years. I just, built my dream the way I saw it at the time. So,
did you during that time, like not going to college, and obviously, majority of your friends, probably went to college, right?
Yeah,
because it's the norm.
It's a little lonely.
Yeah, so I know I didn't go to college either.
No college buddies, anti-college buddies.
Man,
what team you rooting for, huh? The Cheetahs?
I would have been one of the suckers that would have gone to college had I had I did have the chance, but it was just given my circumstances, I had to work to survive.
Yeah, that's very different.
So, I had always thought that I would go to college. I would get my GED and I would go to college. My sister went to college. It was like this pinnacle of accomplishment, which
isn't that funny?
It was huge for her because of where we come from. 8th grade, going to college and actually having a degree in something. So I'm super proud of her for doing that. I was thinking I would take the same path and become a mechanic. I was going to be a mechanic. I thought I loved working on cars. Dude, I went to try to get my GED.
Oh, man.
I like flunked out of my GED.
Really?
I took like 2 classes and I'm like, dude, I cannot sit in this stinking room. Like, this is driving me crazy. Like, I got to go do stuff.
That's how I feel. Just sitting here. I'm like, what do I do? I want to move. I want to. Yeah, I get it.
And so I like left that class. I got to work on my business. And I was just starting in business. And what it dawned on me about year 3 into my business, dude, I'm getting a college education. I have time to listen to all these books that I want to actually listen to and learn and study from people that I want to study. And I'm making some very expensive mistakes. It cost me a lot of money in business. But guess what? It's real life.
Yes.
And once I was done with that, all the lessons that I could learn and the money that I was actually able to make and generate during that time, which a lot of them I didn't get to keep because of, things that came up along the way. But it's just so many lessons that I learned that I've been able to carry on through the rest of my life now. Yeah. And I don't have any debt from a college education.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. But I guess my point was, where I was going with that is there's so many years there where I did feel left out. I did feel like I don't fit in with the crowd. I'm weird. I'm different because I'm like the lone wolf out of a herd of people that is working at 12 o'clock at night when my friends are out partying or they're hanging out at someone's house playing video games and things like that. This is after I left the Amish, but what was it like? What was that like for you? I would imagine
probably really similar to you, but it was a little lonely. I found myself getting more cynical for sure. I'd go to, a party or something like that, and it's Texas versus OU, and everyone's, oh yeah, I'm rooting for OU, yeah, Boomer Sooner, this and that, and I'm like, really? Like all of y'all people, like y'all are all rooting for this team because you went to this school. Got it. Okay. And I could just take it for what it was, which is, yeah, they go to the school, they have pride for the school. And yes, I became more cynical and resentful. I was like, oh, they have something, and it's not, I don't know. It's not the way it should be. And if I could go back, I'd change that. But that was my reaction to it, was like, I was upset. I guess I didn't have something like that, but wasn't upset enough to go to college.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm building myself up. That's what I'm doing. And I could have just, taken the emotion out of it. Just said, I'm working on myself. I don't have the experience that they have, but, it doesn't mean I'm better than them. It doesn't mean that I have to rag on them. If they're into football and into college, sports or whatever, then so be it. They got, that's their experience. For me, I had no ties to any professional team, collegiate team. I mean, I couldn't list more than probably 5 teams.
Okay.
of any sport, I think. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. But you're in the business, though. If somebody wanted to have a business conversation, probably comes, I mean, I know your dad a little bit. Yeah. And is that more coming from your dad's side or your mom's side? I think it's a mix. So my dad, yes, he's very business-minded, has great ideas, and he can implement great things for business. My mom is very creative. Like extremely creative. I mean, they both are. But she's extremely creative. She was a comedian. She owned and operated a comedy troupe called The Four Funny Females. And and she filled those seats, every show. And so I got to see her creative talents with coming up with new jokes or new ways to market herself. And I mean, she's extremely creative. So I got to kind of blend the two. She's creative to a point where maybe the ideas she has aren't good ideas, or a lot of them aren't good ideas. Sorry, Mom. Because she's ultra creative. And my dad is more analytical, I would say, with business. He's still creative, but he's gonna analyze what's the audience size like for this business. So here's my potential audience. How many of those people can I convert to purchase the thing that I'm thinking about selling, right? And so he's doing all the math to see if it makes sense. And I think my mom is more of a, I have an idea, we should just run with it. And so, I got that from both of them for sure. Wow. So I got a different understanding of how, like, your operating system, a little bit more of your operating system.
Well, also bounce back and forth too, because my mom, my mom is so creative that I can't get that out of my blood. I'll be hanging out with friends and, wouldn't it be cool if either one of us will get another on the subject of creating something new? And I'm like, we got to do it. We absolutely got it. This is going to change the world, and then I have to drop back into more of that analytical, my dad's voice of like, all right, let's settle down. How many people would be interested in this? What could we charge? Is it worth doing? How long would it take to start up? I have to go through that process.
Yeah, that's the analyst side, like analyzing every, that's a personality. I mean, if you're well balanced, you have a little bit of both, but at the core, like my brother's that way. He's more of an analyst. Like he'll analyze, and I'm always telling him, bro, we just got to do it. This is gonna, That's
usually how I am. That's my default operating system. I'm like, Enos, let's do it. We're gonna take over the world with this product. What are you selling? A variant of Bagel Bites. It's like just thinking that you have that thing that people need to know about. So, and
I think that's good for starting.
Yeah.
I think it's really good for starting because you need like that kind of personality in order to, and that's what I've come to realize for myself is I'm designed to start because a lot of people don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
They're scared of it. And so if I can just harness that as a strength,
Yeah.
and just start and let other people finish for me.
Yeah, that's me. That's absolutely me.
Yeah.
How are we here? How is this a thing? Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I always told my dad, I'm like, if they had some like a business, right, where I could get hired to just come up with ideas, and just I'll implement it, start it real quick, and then on to the next thing. I would love that. Unfortunately, no one hires for that position.
Well, you heard it here on the Amish Rebel podcast. This is your guy. If you need an ideas guy, get him in the room.
Yeah.
And we definitely we brainstorm a lot on ideas, and I think it's great because I think in business you really. I know I need that. Like, I need those conversations to be able to be creative and come up with solutions. What I've figured out over the years now is at first I would try to figure out things by myself in business. Now I think if I can get 2 or 3 people to brainstorm this idea with, it will go way faster than it does if I come up with the ideas by myself, and it'll be way better
For sure.
as well. And so I love when we have that exchange back and forth about ideas or getting advice from friends on certain things.
Yes.
I think it's just way better when you do that.
There also shouldn't be pride in making it all self-centered, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I think at the beginning of my journey with product creation or just business in general, like, there was some type of pride of like, oh yeah, and every little detail I managed, which really means a lot of details could have been better because I'm not good at all the details.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why your product sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, like that's what I think. Like when people.
Talking about my product? I was going to go with it for a second.
Not
I was
yours,
like,
because you've gotten a lot of feedback and input from that. So Mitch has something he'll share with you guys as well. We'll get into it. A business that he's created, and super excited for that business and what he's already doing with it. But that is a great point, because you can, if I have one camera in the room, it can get one angle. And it could either get me, or it could get both of us, or it could get you.
Yep.
If I have 3 cameras in the room, it can see multiple angles at the same time. And so I think it's the same way with having a support group around you. Like,
well said. Yeah.
If you have, because there are things in our lives that we don't see. That we think we're doing great in. At least I do. Like, I think I'm doing fantastic until somebody like shines a light on it. Hey, Enos, why didn't you do this?
Yeah, yeah. Like, you need those people that'll speak truth in your life. Yeah.
So,
for sure.
I had a guy, and you know who you are if you're listening to this. I asked him to give me feedback on the podcast. And he gave me honest feedback, which I really appreciate, because it's hard to find people.
Oh, yeah.
You're one of those people that will honestly speak into my life, and so I appreciate that about you as well. But it's hard to find people that are just honest and brutal with the information that maybe nobody else will share with you.
Yes.
And so I said, is there anything that I do on the podcast that is like annoying to watch or hear? And one of the things he said was, you always say, and I was like, when I do a transition. So I'm saying that today because I want to be held accountable to not say that.
And I was like.
So
what would you use as an alternative?
Just not say anything. Just go straight into the next word. So what we do in studying leadership and in studying public speaking, which I've done a little bit of, and one of the things they say is that's a filler word. Right. Our brain searches for words to speak so that we can keep speaking. And in order to make a transition, a lot of times we use a filler word to make that transition. So I was like going into the next sentence.
Okay,
I was like to try to explain what I was going to say. But when you use that same word over and over and over again on the same podcast, and it's ringing in someone's ear, it gets super annoying.
I could see that. Well, and I was like, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. That's something I'm actually working on. Because something that my wife and I say is English is our first language, but we're still not fluent yet.
That sounds like an Andrew Tate quote.
Oh, really?
Yes. Do you listen
I don't
to
know
Andrew Tate?
Well, no, not really.
No?
I know who he is.
Okay.
I just don't. I feel like he's a bad role model for men. I think it's so heavily. I get that our society as a whole needs more alpha leader type men. We're creating a bunch of like screen dwellers or something, just staring at a screen and not taking action. But I feel like that's not the way to get it. That's going to create a bunch of unhealthy men that think that sexual conquest is the answer to all their problems.
Yeah.
More money and sexual conquest. So, but anyway, what were you saying about Andrew Tate?
Well, that's something that he says. The reason why he has studied another language or practiced another language is because he hasn't mastered the communication of the English language, and he is a pretty good communicator.
Oh, absolutely.
And so,
super smart.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of things that are valuable that he says.
Yeah.
But as a well-rounded individual, maybe some areas in his life that I don't just say maybe. There are definitely areas in his life that I would not model after.
Yeah, I think there's some young men that are really, really attracted to him and what he has to offer. And I think coming from the society that we live in, I can absolutely see why they would gravitate towards him, for sure. I just think if you look at his life, that's not a recipe for long-term fulfillment, satisfaction. I won't say that I have all the answers either. So I'm not gonna cast stones. I'm just saying that I wish the message was a little bit different. Yeah.
And that leads me into this. If Andrew Tate, if you're watching this video, the Amish Rebel podcast, if you come across this video, I'm not saying this in order to create attention. I'm saying this because you could have so much more influence if you tweaked a few things about what you did in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
And I encourage you to do that. So what are some things that you're working on right now that you feel, I know you got into ultra marathon running, you're doing jiu-jitsu to make yourself better as an individual?
Let's see. Well, right now, I'd be lying if I didn't say that this season of my life is work and eat bad foods. This is, you should have asked me this like a couple months ago.
Where are your friends at? Yeah. Come on, man.
It's my wife. It's her fault. No, I'm just kidding. No, but my wife took up baking, and she took up making amazing food. And I'm like, this is bad. Like, you can't keep giving me biscotti and cups of coffee. I'm going to eat all of the biscotti. So right now, I have things that I want to get back to. I want to get back into quote unquote fighting shape. I want to feel good. I want to be ripped. I want to have all the energy in the world. And trying different chocolate cakes and biscotti isn't going to get me there. Mm-hmm. So, but as far as just working on myself though, right now, it's very business focused. In the past, it would be expanding my vocabulary or working on my health. But this season I'm in, it's just business, and so I'm stretching myself in other ways. For instance, talking about people getting real criticism. Right, I get that from my dad. I get that from friends. If I'm lucky, some friends just want to hype me up, but my dad, he'll say, "Hey, you don't have subtitles on your Instagram videos." I'm like, yeah, and can people not hear? He's like, well, no, they like to read it too. I'm like, who likes to read? That makes no sense. I bring it up with a few people, and they're like, oh yeah, I love reading the subtitles. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll add subtitles, right? So it's stretching myself in that way to say, I don't have all the answers. I'm going to implement things that people suggest, even if I don't deem them as being more successful than I am. I don't care who it comes from. Yeah. It could be a guy under a bridge. If he has good suggestions, then I'm going to implement them. So
Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
So there's no difference in who the information comes from.
Nope. Could be anybody,
I think
except for trolls on online. If it's trolls online, and it's truly just to be mean, I'm not taking any of their suggestions. It's block and delete. I'm getting really good at that.
You do that.
Oh yeah. So
Hey, I want to challenge you.
What?
You're missing out on a great opportunity.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. So I can see where you're coming from. Have you got a lot of trolls? No.
I've got a decent amount. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, like, what's a lot.
Well, so I guess I would say most of what you have done hasn't been so either counterculture or disruptive that it's accepted by the masses.
Gotcha.
I would say most of the businesses I've started have really been disruptive in their industries. And so it's a lot of that, oh, that'll never work. And it's like, oh, but it does. Oh, that's crazy. There's a reason why we haven't done that. I'm like, really? So that's been my experience. So that kind of draws the trolls out. You know? It's kind of like all the people that would be like, you didn't go to college? It's like all those people got together and then decided to just rip on a product online.
Try to destroy it before it starts.
And in fairness, we're talking a tiny fraction of the society, right? I'm not saying that everyone's a troll or what. No, by far, people are encouraging, supportive, and build you up. I mean, that's been my experience. It's just the loudest ones are the trolls.
Yeah.
So, but this is what I used to do. I'm rambling, but this is what I used to do. I used to engage in it. I'd say, oh, that's your main point on why you think this product is terrible. Okay, so if I change that, what do you think? No response. So I just formulated this entire, not rebuttal, but I went along with it. I'm like, devil's advocate here. Let's see what would happen. Would you buy it then? And it's usually either just another problem. Well, then there's this. Then there's the price.
Yeah.
What if I lower the price? Well, it's just, it really just subtracts time from your family, your friends, things that matter, and you're not going to convert that person anyway. Are you familiar with the knees over toes guy? Shout out to knees over toes guy.
No, I'm not.
Guy's a genius. He very disruptive in the space. So for a long time, they said, when you squat, do not get your knee over your toe, right? And then he started looking at all this data of knee injuries and stuff, and he's like, it's actually the knees over the toes that strengthens the knee.
Oh, wow. You heard it here first. There's some people.
Not my idea.
There's some people. I did not know this, but go on.
So he started stretching it and doing all these different exercises, and now he has crazy strong knees. I mean, he can dunk a basketball. He can do some stuff.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he can land.
Shailene Johnson. Huh? She doesn't believe in that.
Oh yeah, is this a random person?
No. Oh. A random? No, she's very well
Who is
known.
this?
She Beachbody, like, you don't know?
No.
Okay. Oh, she's very.
She's like, do not get the knees over the toes, guys. Right? So it's like we just take it as gospel, and I did too. I remember telling friends, "Don't squat like that. You're gonna hurt your knees." And then this guy comes along and goes, actually, it's because we stop squatting with our knees over our toes like kids. I just looked at a little kid in the studio. We got our camera operator over here.
Yeah. So we got Trace. Shout out to Trace for running the camera. Good job, buddy. It's his first day on the job.
I want to see how he squats, because I bet he squats with his knees over his toes.
Oh, dude, we've had so many conversations about this because my wife, she follows the program. Beachbody.
Yeah.
And they teach to keep your knees back over,
right.
Don't let them go over your toes.
Right.
Well, it's not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
I squat how I squat, and however it comes out. I try to keep my weight on my heel. Well, but whenever we do a workout at home, she's always coaching them, the kids, on, hey, make sure you're
didn't mean to be
so this will
in between this situation.
This will be a great research piece that we'll have to do.
It's fascinating.
I hadn't heard it before. I didn't really care too much about it, because, like,
squat how you squat.
Squat.
Yeah.
Whatever feels good for my knees.
I agree. But he came out, changed all these people's lives, right? So if he didn't take on the negative whatever, and at the end of the day, it's like, it's not even these people's opinions. It's the opinions of people that they have given them that opinion. Does that make sense? I could have worded that better, but it's not even their original opinion, right? Like, I doubt that your wife just had the opinion. It was implanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you got to be careful, right? From whatever Chenille or something.
Shailene Johnson. Shailene Johnson.
Yeah. So someone probably told Shailene Johnson. Where did she get the "don't get your knees over your toes"?
Yeah.
Right. And so some of these comments that you see online, it's not even their original thought.
Mm-hmm.
Someone, society as a whole implanted that, right? You got to go to college. Like, why do people have a visceral reaction to it?
Yeah. Okay, so what I was saying about challenging you in the response to that.
Oh.
Challenging you in the response to the critics.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's not really the critic itself. It's the response to it. So think about the response. You have a way to respond to it. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying.
Well, I didn't get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking in circles. So
no, you're good.
The knees over toes guy, right?
Uh-huh.
I value what he has to say, and I've seen his come up. It's incredible, right? And he posted something recently, and he said, hey guys, if it helps any of you, I just wanted to share this with you, but I used to respond to the trolls. I used to explain with facts why I think what I'm suggesting is beneficial to the masses, right? And it's the same thing. Wouldn't respond, or would get more argumentative, or name calling, or whatever. And he said eventually he just basically found out it was a waste of time. And so he would be frustrated that he spent time getting back to this critic, right? Or the skeptic. And then he didn't really convert them. He didn't change their mind. They just doubled down. And so he's walking around frustrated. His wife is trying to, kiss him after a long day of work. His kids are trying to play with them, and he's holding on to that. And so he basically just found out that instead of trying to do what he was doing and change his reaction to it, he could just cut it out entirely, right? Fix what bothers you, right? He fixed what bothered him. He's like, trolls bother me. Block. Delete. It's easy.
Trolls are fun though.
No, no, it's a waste of time. No. It's a waste of time.
Hang on. Let me paint.
Do you think Joe Rogan responds to his critics? Not a chance.
Okay, so let me paint this picture, Mitch.
Sure, hit me with it.
Here's why it's fun.
I'm all ears.
Because they're entertaining. Okay, use them for your entertainment. Okay, so I don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm good in that area.
For sure.
So if I have a troll and they say something that is criticizing me,
yeah,
that's their perspective. They get to do that. That's fine. I don't have to respond to that.
You don't.
I get to use it as my entertainment though. I get to talk about it. I get to give my perspective. I'm not persuading them on nothing.
Okay, I'll give you another view, because I like where you're coming from. Now, treat your online space, what you're building, right? You're building your brand. Treat it as your home. Okay? Imagine someone comes in and just, these stairs, they're dumb. I hate your stairs.
Oh, that's good.
You would eventually be like, okay, this isn't the environment I want. Right? This is my space. This is my space. I've created my environment. My space. We should do my space. I've created my environment. I want it to feel a certain way. I want it to be positive. I want people that are interacting with my stuff to have a certain experience. As soon as that person is let in and they get to stay, they're like a cancer. You see it all the time. At least, I'm not sure if you run ads, but you can run an ad and one person goes, "Oh, really? Costs that much?" Dumb. And it's cancer. Another person goes, "Oh, well, now I feel emboldened to make a comment." And they leave a comment. "Oh, like this guy said, totally ridiculous." You cut that cancer out, you won't have another comment for 5 to 10 days, because you're not empowering these people. These people don't have a space. What if you called that person out
and just made him the center of it all.
Yeah, I don't like to get hostile. I don't like to.
Well, that's not really hostile. It's just saying this person set this, and then you let your audience decide what they.
Yeah, you could, but that's a risky game to play. Risky game to play.
I can totally respect where you're coming from too, because like painting the house picture, like I get that, because I wouldn't allow that environment in my house, like a person stepping in and creating that environment. I never saw it that way, I guess. So you gave me something to think about.
I've experienced it for a while.
Yeah, you've got a lot more experience.
When I was 20 years old, I started a product, and you can search it up if you know my name. But
what's the name of it?
Oh, I can't say.
You can't.
There's like little ears in here, and
you can say it.
Oh, wine condoms?
Yeah, wine condoms. Yeah.
Wasn't sure if little ears would be okay with that. But
absolutely.
Yeah, so I started wine condoms, and you're talking about a very disruptive thing.
Hey, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you real quick. The reason why I said it's okay, because I'll have critics point this out. More than likely, if I don't explain it a little bit or expand on that. Oh, you're letting your kid hear that stuff? I'm like, yes. I'm letting my kid hear that stuff because I've talked to him about it.
Oh, okay.
I've educated him about it. So
that's good.
if I don't, somebody else will. And
I think that's a great idea. I didn't know where your boundaries were, so I thought the safest bet is to just not say anything.
I appreciate that very much.
Of course.
Continue.
Yeah, so I created wine condoms, and it was just a funny idea. I mean, it was like, this isn't supposed to change the world. It isn't supposed to make storing wine the best experience in the world. It was just, I have a funny idea. I want to make a bottle stopper that goes over a bottle of wine and seals it like a condom. I thought it was hilarious. And there was you can probably still find it, but there was a Reddit page. I'm giving them support right now. There's a Reddit page that was just trashing me online. And I found it because I was Googling, what were we in? Were we in this magazine? Were we in this, news outlet? And I was so excited. And then 20 years old, I get to the Reddit thing, and it's crazy stuff being thrown my way. Like, wow, him and his little skeezy mustache, and can't grow facial hair, he's gross. He's like, we're talking just mean stuff on my appearance. I can't change that. I want to punch this guy in the face. Like, these are real comments out there. 20 years old, I start a business, and I'm not even successful. Like, you got to add that, right? You start a business, talk about delayed gratification. You pour your heart, your soul into it. You make mistakes. You're spending your money. Your money's on the line, right?
Yeah.
And you have people that are just super mean. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that, I have thin skin. It's just, I'm definitely going to get used to blocking these people, because there's no point in letting them come into my space. And you have to agree, even if you don't, quote unquote, let it bother you, it's affecting you. I mean, like the whole thing with the, someone comes into your house and they just start saying mean things. You see it. And whether or not you have a physical reaction to it, like crying or, anger or whatever it is, it's still affecting you. There's no doubt about it. If cloudy days affect your behavior, then I would say people saying mean stuff about things that you can't change, it affects you. So get out of it. Don't see it.
So this is a very interesting conversation to me. And please leave the comments, because obviously we don't see we don't have the same perspective because of our different experiences within it, and I'm okay with that. Like I feel like you're okay with that.
Yeah.
You've definitely challenged me to look at it a little bit differently, but the way that I see it is like, yes, that affects you. Okay, so if it's structured in a way, for example, there is a guy named Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of him, but he will take, or I guess his team prints off like sheets of like just nasty comments.
Yeah.
And then he'll make an entire show just reading nasty comments and
mean
laughing.
tweets.
Yeah, mean tweets and stuff like that. So I find that very entertaining, just as just kind of getting his take on it and hearing what people actually say. I don't know if that's I'm self-reflecting here. Why do I listen to something like that? A lot of times they're funny.
Yeah.
And
I think it's either funny or hurtful depending on the season of your business or the season of what you're promoting.
Yeah.
So say you just start something. And you have pages of this is dumb, this is so stupid, why would you do this? Go kill yourself.
Yeah.
If you have all that at the start, you don't have any evidence to the contrary that they're not right. Right? So you block that stuff out at the beginning.
Yeah.
When you're making millions, yeah, sure, read all the mean tweets you want. You've got something successful and you have all the evidence that they were wrong.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning, I think it's the worst thing you could do because it does affect, like we have a tribe mentality. Absolutely. We are not, what am I trying to say? It's not just us as humans dictating everything. We bounce ideas off of each other. We see what concepts will work and what probably won't work depending on our reaction we get from different people. If you have an overwhelming interaction of that's dumb, that's stupid, and it's just the loudest group talking, that's going to affect your next day. You'd be crazy to say that the next day you're going to just jump back to work with the zest that you had the day before, because that's going to be in the back of your mind. Like, am I spending all my time and money on something that just won't work, or are all of them wrong?
Yeah. Are you saying that's what you're thinking, or that's what you're affected, or that's how you're affected? Is like you're saying that those negative comments, you're actually thinking about it and then second guessing why you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as I pride myself on being it's so cheesy to say, like, a leader and not a follower, but like I try to set out on my own path. As much as I like to say that, I still rely on the people around me to see, am I going down a path that's going to be advantageous, or am I leading to my own destruction?
Yeah.
And so if I get my friends around me go, oh man, that's a good idea. It's like, well, can I really trust you? Because all these people online, I say all of them, just trying to make a point.
Yeah.
But they're saying it's stupid. They're saying they would never buy that. They're saying that they'd rather buy this than that. And so, like I said, they're just trolls. You can't, if someone is critical, and coming from it at a standpoint of, I want to improve this product or improve the experience for the end customer, I'll hear it all day. But those are structured differently. It's like, hey, I'm not sure if you've thought about this, but have you thought about doing this? Because I think a lot of people would be interested in it. Completely different than, that's dumb, I'll just use this. Those people aren't wanting their minds changed. And so I think, yes, I've gotten very good at just letting it all pass through. Just like, oh, hey, another person said something mean.
All right. We'll have to do an update on this poll to see who is in support of the way you were. And I'm not saying it's a negative thing. Yeah. I'm just challenging you. You're challenging me in this because I look at it as from a little bit different perspective, I guess. If I look back on my first business that I started, I had random people. These people didn't even know me. Come up to me in person and tell me why what I'm doing isn't going to work. And I listened to their feedback.
Okay.
With an open mind.
But they told you why it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, why it wasn't going to work.
Okay.
Why
I don't get that.
why everything that I'm doing is wrong and it's not going to work. So you might as well stop trying right now. And trust me, I had very low self-esteem at that point in time.
Yeah, the beginning season.
And did that maybe affect me in some way? Did I think about those comments? I used it as fuel of why it is going to work.
Oh, man.
So, like, it's okay, you said that's not going to work. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening. I love you, Mitch. I appreciate your friendship, but I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then and in 5 years from now, you can decide for yourself whether or not it worked.
Yeah.
So I don't have to prove anything to you. Like, I don't have to tell you it's gonna work. Oh no, I gotta defend myself. No, I don't.
Yeah, and that isn't even the other option. That's not what I do in those situations.
Yeah,
let me defend myself.
Yeah.
Let me defend what. It's not even that. It's just, all right, you have a problem with something. How do I make it better? You know? Oh, nothing. Yeah. Just ghost. Just don't ever hear it again.
I do agree with that.
And so that's I think the most frustrating part is I would be all ears, you know? I say I would be all ears. I'd be all ears if it was given in a way that I could trust they wanted the best for me and my company. Yeah. If someone's just being rude, just let them be rude, just not anywhere near me. Yeah. But no, I get criticism all the time. I just get criticism from people who care about my future.
Yeah.
And so
I get that. I was just saying that for the audience to hear that it's not like for the person, like I know that you get criticism. I know that you get feedback. I know that that you want to do better in whatever you're working on, whether it's, self-development or your business or your products or stuff like that. And that's why I was saying, like, a critic, a person that doesn't know you doesn't. And nowadays I would probably say, no, you don't have, like, I'm not giving you the right to speak into my life. I'm not even listening.
Yeah.
Depending on, like, if a stranger walked up.
Yeah.
But in the comments, I can choose to respond or not. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, I can choose to say, like, I don't know, we had a video recently we put out, and this is probably why I'm talking about this, is because we just read comments, even the mean ones. Oh. So.
They're mean ones?
Apparently I have a big nose, and apparently it moves.
People are brutal. People don't realize, like, people don't realize that we're all going to be dead within 100 years. You know what I mean? 100 years, that perfect nose of yours will be buried in the ground. 100%. And I don't want to be nihilistic, I'm not trying to get everyone down. It's just people are focused on stuff that just does not matter. Mm-hmm. And so, I would say all the trolls, they have something to learn, which is you only have so much time. So spending your time going, would never buy that. Well, that was just a waste of your time because you're just spit everywhere. You're not even going to buy it. You're not even going to buy the thing. So, I mean, imagine how much time could be saved if you didn't just announce when you weren't going to buy stuff, or why something is too expensive. You were never going to buy the Lamborghini to begin with. Who cares if it went up $20,000 last year? You weren't gonna buy a Lamborghini, and the people that do buy Lamborghinis aren't going to be posting, well, it went up in $20,000, so I'm not gonna buy. And so I think
so true. It's so true.
Yeah, so that's been my experience, and we spent so much time on the trolls, which is it's a perfect example, right? We're talking about maybe something I experienced 1% of the time. And we just spent like 10 minutes talking about it. So briefly, I'll say the people online who build people up, support stuff, give suggestions, want to see things made better, those people are superheroes, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't have to leave a comment. You didn't get any juice from hating on something. You built someone else up, And and
so true.
Overwhelmingly, that's the experience that I have. I have people that are in my DMs going, man, I'm so glad you made this product. Or even something as silly as the first company I came up with, wine condoms. I have people that still say, oh my gosh, I gave it to my grandmother. She laughed so hard. I gave it to this person, bachelorette party. We all had so much fun. Like, it's not a product that's going to save the world. It's just something fun. And even getting feedback that it's just fun it's an amazing experience. It's like a high that you've never felt before.
Mm-hmm.
When you go, I created that, and they had that reaction to it.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I just want to say
good.
that those people are incredible.
Yeah.
So
great. So if you need wine condoms, go check them out.
Exclusively on Amazon. Amazon. We're also in, trying to think here, Paper Source, Barnes & Noble, and we're in a bunch of small retailers around the U.S. and Canada, I believe. So, yeah.
That's good.
It's a fun little product.
So what's the other product that you're working on right now?
So I've had a couple other companies in between, but this more recent one, that's my baby at this point, trying to shelter it from all the haters. It's called TRT Vault. So TRT is testosterone replacement therapy, and it's just blown up over the past, I'd say, 5 years.
Yeah, we used to take that when we were Amish. Like most of the Amish take it.
Take testosterone?
Yeah.
You took testosterone.
That's why they have so many kids.
Wait, I don't know. Kidding. I was like, I don't know if that works. I think it shuts down your.
I'm totally kidding for the people like I just blew you away.
I was like, did you do scoops of mud? Is that what you did? Scooping mud in your mouth? We're doing testosterone. Gosh, I'm like, really? That's crazy. But yeah, I got on TRT 5 years ago, had a testicle related issue/injury, and I'm like, man, I feel terrible. I wonder what's going on. And someone suggested, go get your blood levels checked. Like, I know you had that ball injury early in your life. Go get it checked. I was like, all right, got it checked, and it was pretty much the bottom of the reference range. Reference range is 300 to 1,000 units. I can't remember I think it's nanograms per deciliter, but I was at like 350 or something, and I felt terrible. Wow. Yeah, and it was like
that's low.
Right at a certain point in my life, right? Like I had all the energy and all the strength and whatever leading up to this point, and it just, gosh, I would just sit on the couch all day. And so, got that checked, got some extra tests just to confirm, got on TRT, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm back. I'm back to 18-year-old self, which was awesome. But anyway, all that said, I was looking for some way to hold it all. I'd have it in a plastic bag, or I'd occupy like 2 to 3 drawers in my bathroom.
Okay.
And then I'd take it out, take it to the kitchen where my wife would inject me in the butt. And I have to include that. I don't want people's minds going, inject it where? Where is he injecting it? Inject it in my butt. And
that's why I'm not on it.
Butt cheek, okay?
I'm not. Well, multiple reasons why I didn't go down that route. But, dude, the needle, like, is it every day?
No, it's 1 to 2 times a week.
Still, that's a lot. Like, I have a hard time going to the dentist, and
me too. Yeah, no, I get it. I've somehow built up a tolerance. I'm like, oh yeah, just jab it in there. Just jab it in my cheek. But yeah, I was looking for some way to store it all. And I was very, very frustrated that so I started with a plastic bag, and then I went to a trimmer bag. You know, like what you'd keep keep your trimmer in. Trimmer died, and I'm like, oh, I can store my stuff in here. I hated it. It was like, you know, all the supplies, the alcohol swabs, the syringes, the testosterone vials, they're just in there. And so you're sifting through your supplies to get it all ready. And so after that experience, I'm like, man, I need to make something. Coming from a CNC machining background, I'm like, I could machine one of these. That would be cool. So you had a CNC machining background from your upbringing with your dad? Not so much my upbringing. It was let's see, early 20s.
Okay.
My dad got into CNC machining, and he now has like 5 machines. He has really grown in that area. I started a business, decided I didn't want to be in that business anymore with the CNC machine, sold it, wish that I hadn't, and came over to my dad's, machined one of these prototype TRT vaults. I was like, this is pretty cool. Showed some friends. They're like, that's awesome. One friend said, oh, I keep mine in a dresser. All of it's just scattered around. He's like, I hate it. Hate the experience. Another person said a shoebox. my own dad said he keeps it in an old sunglass case. I mean, the stuff's just, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I think you're onto something, because every way that we've been storing this stuff sucks. And so, yeah, I worked with my dad making some prototypes, making some tweaks. We started a Kickstarter. It was successful, but there was a lot of criticism, but good criticism, with people saying this needs to be bigger, this needs to be taller, whatever. Made those changes, and it's awesome. And we continue to refine it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think it's ever going to be, oh, that's good enough. We're going to make it better over time. But I love the experience now.
Yeah.
Like when it's injection day, I'm like, it's injection day. I get to get my TRT vault. And I get my TRT vault, and I slide the magnetic lid off the top, snap it onto the bottom, and I'm like, what do you need, Hannah? My wife, like, what do you need?
Yep.
You need some syringes? I got you some syringes. I start passing them back. You need some alcohol swabs? You know, and boom, there's my injection day. All the supplies go back into their little cubbies and areas. TRT vault is what it's called. But
go check it out.
Go check it out. But it's awesome. I love the experience now. So that's how it started.
That's great. That's a great story. And I've seen you make a few of them, and it's pretty cool how they're made too.
Thank you.
I don't think I've ever seen a CNC machine run.
Yeah?
I've hauled them before doing transportation.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, the process.
It is a learning curve too. I think a lot of people, when they hear CNC machined, they go, oh, you just put metal in there and it makes it. And I wouldn't fault them for thinking that. It's just, you're doing all the programming.
Yeah.
You design the part.
Yeah.
You spend all the hours doing that. Then you spend all the hours programming the tool paths for each tool to do everything it needs to do.
Incredible to see.
So it's a long process between I have an idea and now I'm holding it and now I'm going into production. And it's even longer until, I'm making money from it. So it's a long path with that. Yeah. But
that's good. Cool. It's really cool though to see it unfold. Also, Mitch has social media. He's on YouTube. TRT Vault on YouTube. Yep. He has Instagram, Facebook. You've put out some pretty sweet videos.
Thank you.
So
appreciate it.
Go check him out there and support him and leave comments and get your TRT Vault if you are using TRT.
Absolutely.
Or if you have a friend or someone that knows, or you know someone that uses TRT.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eunice.
No, thank you for coming on today. I think we're well over an hour.
Oh, really?
So,
gosh, I feel like we haven't even talked about anything meaningful. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys.
We wasted too much time on
the trolls.
Haters.
Yes. Why did we do it? We did it to ourselves. Yeah. You know, the haters like, yeah, they're fueling off of it. Like, we really got in their heads now. Yeah. No, we'll have to come back and
absolutely,
get into more fun stuff.
Yeah, it was, dude. We have to. Okay, we can't stop yet. We have to talk about the ultra marathon. I told the audience we would in the beginning of this.
Yeah, and we didn't. So they'd be angry.
The ultra marathon. How did we meet? Do you remember how we met?
CrossFit.
We met at CrossFit?
Yeah, met at CrossFit. Yeah. I'm terrible at CrossFit. I'm the worst CrossFit athlete ever. I work out with Enos, and Enos is blowing me away. He's like, I think it was wall ball squat things. I don't know what those are called.
Yeah.
Just wall balls?
Wall balls.
And then running and handstand push-ups. I still remember the workout. I'm like, this guy will not stop. This is brutal.
It was fun.
It was brutal.
It was... Let me just tell the audience, it felt like if I look back now from what we've done together, it felt like, I beat him in one thing. He's kicked my butt in jiu-jitsu. He's kicked my butt in running. Yeah,
it was you crushed me with that. You weren't even struggling. You're like, you ready? You do another round? I'm like, dude, I'm dying. And so that was the first time I met you. And then I think we got coffee afterwards, talked a little bit, got to know you a little bit. But it wasn't until I brought up doing Bandera, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't until then that we talked a little bit then, but then later on, like a few weeks later, or maybe it was a few months. I don't even remember. It might have been a few months.
Yeah.
Time goes by so fast. But
It does. Don't have time for the haters.
this is the crazy guy that came up to me and said, hey, you want to sign up for this 62-mile race in 3 weeks?
Yeah. Oh.
Like, wild.
And I don't run. I'm not a runner. I'm not sure if you can tell. I don't run. You don't do ultra marathons. This isn't in your skill set. And
well, I haven't run past 12 miles. I did one 12-mile Tough Mudder, and I don't really consider that a race because it's so broken up.
Yeah.
It's like an obstacle course.
So you got the time to kind of chill out or not chill out, but use a different muscle group.
Yeah, it's just, But anyway, I did one of those in 2017, I think.
Okay.
And I hadn't run since. Maybe I've done a 5K in between there.
Okay.
But I definitely was not ready for an ultra marathon.
Me neither. No, that was brutal. I think it was my dad who brought it up. Like years ago, maybe 5 years ago, he said, man, there's this thing and a friend's trying to get me to do it. It's called Bandera. I'm like, what's that? He goes, it's a 62-mile ultra marathon in the hill country. And if you win, you get a belt buckle. And I was like, you get a belt buckle? That's how you know I'm a millennial. I'm like, you get a trophy? That's amazing. And so it was just in the back of my head. I'm like, I want to test myself in that way. Like, I want to be one of the guys that gets the belt buckle for completing it. And anyway, and so, was it this year or last?
Yeah, it was January of this year.
It was this year was the year. And so I tried to get a bunch of friends involved. I successfully got you. And I got my dad, and I got like my little adopted brother, and I got my other friend, or a mutual friend, and he couldn't make it because he was sick. Which was a bummer. He got sick in Bandera, Texas. Night before the race, he got sick, and I was like, "Are you really sick? Or are you just trying to get out of it?" He's like, "I'm really sick." It's like, dang it.
I think it was us going out the day before and looking at those mountains and seeing where we're going to be going.
I was like, we're doing 62 miles of that? No, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
But talk about an experience. Getting to know you better out there and struggling.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy.
It was quite the experience.
Yeah, it was.
That was, and then, after that race, the following race that we did together.
Yeah.
I just remember going to that race and thinking, I might have even told you because I remember meeting you and thinking, I'd like to get to know this guy a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then it was, you said, hey, you want to do this race together? And I thought, what a great way to get to know you and see who this guy really is. And it was like the worst night's sleep I've gotten in a long time.
Yeah.
Because the night I committed, it wasn't even the night before. It was the night I committed to going, which was like a week before the race.
Yeah, that was wild, wasn't it?
It was so wild.
Gosh.
But I'm so glad that I did that, and thank you for challenging me in that way.
Of course.
Definitely.
So what's next? So just to fill people in, we set out to do the Bandera. You did. I think now that I think about it, you probably could have gone all the way. You probably could. You would have been hobbling.
Yes.
But I think you could have. But you stopped at the halfway mark.
Yes.
The next race we did together, you beat me, right? So it wasn't that I finished.
Well,
and then you
I
finished with
beat
me.
you like a few steps.
No, you beat me. And so what's next? So you went 31, so half of 62, and then you did a 50-something mile with me. What's next? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm definitely going back for the Bandera, the 100K. So the 62 miles, because I committed to it, I already told the audience at least one other time that I'm doing that. So
love it.
That's on the books for this year. Or, I guess next year, January. Unless it's raining, under one condition, I'm not doing it in the rain. No. I'm not, because of our 50-mile race. That was the worst.
The rain was terrible.
Yeah.
What if we did this? This is kind of I don't want to, put you on the spot here. We've got a lot of cameras and people watching, but what would you think about doing an invitational where we say, hey guys, not an invitational, but an invite. Come do Bandera with us. Any subscriber, come with us.
That would be fun.
That would be cool. You get to meet. We get to meet all of y'all, you know, possibly.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So you're invited. The audience is invited.
Yes.
Anybody listening, you want to show up, do Bandera with us?
Come hang out with us.
Let's do this. So we have, if you go on our YouTube page and you click in the description of what the podcast is about, there's an email address in there. Email us if you're coming, and then we'll begin to put something together to make this like official announcement as we get closer. Maybe we could start training together.
That would be cool. We got to get shirts made.
We have to get if people email me and they want to come and join us, we'll definitely have to get some shirts made.
I would love that.
The Amish Rebel team.
Yes,
the Amish Rebel gang.
Your voice matters. It'd be fun to meet all of y'all too.
Yes,
I know it's not my thing. This isn't my podcast, but I think it'd be cool to meet all of your followers.
I appreciate you bringing that up because I think that's a great idea. It's accountability too.
Yeah, they show up and you're not there. Like, sorry guys, it was full.
It was rain. There was rain in the forecast.
They're like, I'm wearing my Amish Rebel t-shirt. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe if we get a big enough group coming, we could get sponsored from Bandera or something crazy.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
We should reach out. It'd be fun. I wonder what other sponsors could team up. That'd be cool. Hoka, yeah. You could even get some Amish tribe. What do they call it? Community? I'm not sure. Amish community?
The Amish community.
to donate some honey.
A big Greyhound bus pulls up and it's full of Amish people. Well, we're doing Bandera.
That would be awesome. Well, I'll be thinking about potential sponsors because that would be really cool to get a bunch of people just all getting better. We all get to, and these people, man, they would get to learn about each other.
Yes.
There's 20, 30, 100 people, who knows, that come. They get to meet each other. They get to, better themselves. And I'd love to hear about their stories. Be cool.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
There's a long time to talk.
Yeah.
You got 20-something hours.
Yes. Well, that, and I will say, like, if you've never done a race before, and you want the experience, the 31 miles is a great experience.
It is.
I don't know what your take is on it.
I thought so too.
I mean, so if you just want to come out and have a great ultra experience and push yourself and test yourself, the 31 miles. The 31 is just, if you do the 62, it's just 2 laps of the 31.
Yep.
So
Just.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. It's really that different.
And I know the audience is thinking, you guys are absolutely insane. Don't limit yourself. That's all I would say. Don't give it a try. I mean, I didn't know I was going to make it 31 miles. Yep. I thought I would do a marathon someday in the future.
Yep. Sometimes you got to ready, fire, aim. You aim last.
Yep. Just start.
Yes.
We're here to help you start.
Yeah. Be like us. Do not do any preparation for it. Just do it.
Don't be like us. That's horrible advice.
I'm just saying there's something to being very underprepared.
Oh yeah.
And then you learn something about yourself. I'm not saying that's something I would do long term. But
absolutely
no. But you learn about yourself. You're like, whoa, that's what I can do with no training.
Yes.
I mean, I felt like, so just so the viewer knows, man, I was so emotional. I mean, I don't get emotional after physical feats or whatever, but this was crazy. I mean, for like 2 days, I couldn't stop crying. I mean, it felt like torture being out there for so long, 20 something hours in the dark. I think I finished at 4 a.m. the next day, 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah, 5 a.m.
Cold, 30 degrees. I'm wearing shorts and a shirt. I mean, it was miserable. All I wanted to do I didn't just want to sit down. I wanted to be like teleported to another location. I just want to be out of there completely.
Yeah.
And the worst noise I could have heard at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m., whatever it was, when I was descending into the valley, was my wife's truck. I could hear it off in the distance. And I was like, it's so far away. my legs are like broken. I should just lay down. I can't make it. I had never gotten there. And so you don't truly find out what you're made of, what you're capable of, until you're pushed to that limit of like, I should just quit. I should just accept that I should die right now. You know? And I'm not saying that everyone will have that experience. I'm sure there's going to be people out there that, you know, they're like 62 miles. That's nothing. I felt fresh after 62 miles. There's always exceptions, but I will say doing something like that, you're going to have a lot of people that find their limit. Yeah. And they have the option, push past it or, you know, stop there, which no judgment there either. You're signing up for it. You're doing it. Yeah. So
I'll say my experience in quitting, because I quit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of it.
Don't look at me when you say that, because you make me want to laugh. I quit.
Laugh.
I quit.
You can laugh.
I'm not gonna laugh at you.
I'm not a quitter, but I quit. But the frustration, but also the satisfaction.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's nothing like it.
No.
And I just didn't know. You know, I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know until the 50-mile race that there's multiple levels of pain that I can push through and not break my body.
Yes.
Not physically break my body. Like I will break some cobwebs out of my brain that are, you know, there that keep me from pushing past my limits,
right,
so to speak. But that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's or at least for my experience, it's physical pain, but it's also a mental roadblock that we put ourselves in. So
pushing past that physical pain feels like you've unlocked a new mental potential.
Yes, like absolutely.
In business and everything. I mean, like I am not the most patient with my son. I'm not. I'm working on it. But you do something like that where you're suffering for that long. Okay, so your kid makes a little bit too much noise for too long. Okay, hey, you got to be a little bit quieter. Versus being like, hey, can you stop? I feel like the irritability drops.
Yes.
You have more threshold before, not snapping, but before you're like, can you stop? Yeah. And it's like, all right, dude, calm down.
Yeah, it just makes us who we are today and makes us better going forward, right?
Amen.
I think that is going to be the conclusion or the ending of
this one,
of this podcast. I would absolutely love to come back on and have you back on if you agree to do so.
I would love to.
Okay, so the next time we'll be more intentional about getting into the details, because I really want to get into the details of the ultra marathon and what we learned and what it's taught us and how it's like even helped us in everyday life, which you touched on a little bit. But we're an hour and 34 minutes in.
Whoa. Where do you see that time? Is there a time on there?
It's invisible to
you have it in here. Hour 34 minutes.
It's hour and 34 minutes and 5 seconds.
Wow, that's incredible.
All right, thank you so much for watching the Amish Rebel. Please like and subscribe. Share it with whoever you think this podcast would benefit. And also leave your comments. We appreciate you guys so very much. And we will see you in the next video.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.